Templetown. Now, this is a game that was actually supposed to be on Kickstarter, but I think they've delayed it into next month. So consider this an advanced sneak peek, and these folks are not paying. So this is just my raw, unfettered responses, unsullied by the exchange of goods for services or money for what have you. But anyway, so we played Templetown. This one is definitely a cooperative game, and here's why I was so excited to check it out. I love the old animated feature film Osmosis Jones. I just love that idea of anthropomorphizing the innards. There's a really great Rick and Morty episode that does the same thing. I just love that idea of, fantastic voyages into our bodies to see how, these are all sentient beings in here, our white blood cells fighting off diseases and stuff like that. And that is the theme of Templetown. The Templetown is, your body is a temple. And it happens to be a town that all these little characters live in. There's no religious overtones. It's just a pun on the Templetown. And it is, interestingly, it's kind of, I was going to say it's, no, it's not real. I was going to say it's a pick up and deliver game. It's a cooperative game. It's not pick up and deliver. It definitely leans more towards the pandemic structure approach. Every round, I'm going to try and move around, deal with the fact that there's constantly new problems popping up all over the place in the world, and we have to fight them because if they build up too much, that'll trigger an in-game response. So we're constantly running around fighting viruses. We've got special powers that let us do it. Over time, we can collect DNA for completing things, and that gives us purchasing power that we can use to buy upgrades to get better and stronger. And one of the interesting things about this game is the board itself, or the collection of boards, because it's modular. In one game, you might be fighting off infections in the brain and the lungs and the heart. In another one, it might be the bowels and there's 6. So you get a mix-up of every time. But basically, all these different areas create a maze that you have to move through because often, it looks like, I have to go 1, 2, 3. No, I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to get around, to get to the entrance of the area where this particular virus is causing a real problem. And it's going to move on. If I can't get to it this turn, it'll be out of my reach. And next turn, it'll cause an explosion that'll put us over the edge and lose. How can I get there? Now, so, again, it's quasi-pandemic-ish. But the interesting thing is I've got a hand of cards, and all these cards are multi-use. These cards give me action points I can spend to either move, or fight, or build. There's wildcard ones as well. And based on what cards I draw and what cards I have in my hand, this means, hey, this turn, I might not be very good at moving. And so, but I'm really good at building. So, okay, can you still get to that thing before the round is over and that thing explodes? Because right now, because I didn't get the cards I need, I think I'm going to go over here and build a defensive tower to protect this area so we can stay out of the brain for a while and focus on other areas based on the cards I've got. And if you can't, well, then you can start, mixing and matching, and you can spend the DNA that you're saving up to buy things to instead enhance the actions you're already going to do. The game is constantly full of fun and interesting decisions to make every step of the way. And I gotta say, I was very, very impressed by it. As a pandemic fan, I thought this was a very, very good, pandemic-inspired cooperative game with a wonderful theme, great presentation, all the rest of it. My only real issue is, the one thing I don't think it took very well from Pandemic was the way it handles player scaling. In Pandemic, when you play a 2-player game, it's the whole world you have to deal with. You just start out significantly more powerful than normal. In this game, because it's a modular board, they just cut down. It's a much smaller world, and you start out at the same level of power you would otherwise. I think the Pandemic approach to scaling is so much more compelling. Because when I play with a lot of players in Pandemic, I can't do as much, but that's okay because I'm part of a machine. I'm part of a cog, and okay, all of us together are super powerful. Whereas in a 2-player game in Pandemic, okay, I'm very powerful and you're very powerful. Here in Templetown, I would imagine playing at a higher player count, that same feeling of camaraderie and, we can all pull together and do this. We're powerful as a team. But in a 2-player game, no, we're just only half as powerful, and we only have to do half as much stuff. And I just find that to be less compelling, less superhero fantasy fulfilling. And so that's really my main issue with the game. It's very, very good, and I suspect it'd be great at higher player counts, but the lower player count, it just didn't quite resonate again, which is why it's only at 14. Because it's very, very well considered, and you can watch for it coming soon. And again, if you like the subject matter, which I absolutely love, it's worth seeking out for that too. Number 14, Templetown.